You're listening to Kelly and Steve, and this is coupled with chaos.
News to me.
I mean, that is the definition of news.
There you go. It's news to me. Oh, 90 Day Fiancé, Season 10, Episode 10, For Better or For Worse. I'd like to thank the free subscribers. We had last week a try before you buy for Patreon and Apple, and very thankful of the people who
are trying us out,
who joined us. So if you have not, it'll probably be a couple months before we do that again. Subscriptions are $3.99 plus tax, probably around $4.19, something like that. Patreon, Supercast, Apple channel. We cover, what do we got right now? The Other Way, Sister Wives, Plathville ended, so we have Chantel, The Other Way, Inside Scoop, Personal Crap. All right, we do our personal crap all in one show.
That's not crap.
Well, it's not crap. It's not crap for you, and no, it's not crap for me either. It's our personal life. We get into the personal life of 5 couples. 5 couples on K1 visas. If you're even new, could you even be new to 90 Day and be here?
I suppose.
I doubt it. You'd have seen the show.
Maybe you just started watching and you're obsessed and you looked up a podcast.
Wouldn't it be hard to be obsessed with this season?
It certainly would.
I mean, of all seasons.
Yeah, it would be the early ones that get you hooked. Because if I watched it now, I wouldn't watch it, to be honest.
It's probably a fair assessment. It would be tough to begin now. Listeners who started now,
go back to the beginning.
Yeah, reach out.
It's much better.
Because we don't have, I think Devin and Nick are probably a real couple.
Yes.
And we'll probably talk about them. We'll talk about them on the subscription side. But I think they're taking some heat for not being exciting.
Well, I mean, they're just regular people.
I mean, guess what happens?
Yeah.
It's real people.
Real
I think
life.
Look at each of us. Look at our own personal relationships. And is it really TV worthy?
No.
What do you want? Right? I don't know about you. I would love for my relationship to be boring.
Yes, please.
And uneventful.
Yes.
Right? This is what I would want.
Free of drama.
Because what I don't want is Rob, right?
Yes. Oh, my God.
This isn't a surprise. I mean,
I could not believe his behavior in the jewelry store.
It was tragic, right?
It was tragic. If that were me, I'm pretty sure I would have just said nothing and walked out.
One, I think Sophie, Sophie strikes me like, I don't know, like she'd be like a wrestler, right? She just looks like a professional wrestler. I bet you Sophie could just take him and slam his head into the glass container.
That would be funny, wouldn't it? If she just snapped one day.
Yeah, because Rob's just a jerk, right?
Yeah, he is a jerk. All I can think to myself is she must really want to be in this country.
What he said to a complete stranger.
Because why would she tolerate this?
I'm assuming this is a complete stranger, right? The jeweler.
He humiliated her.
Number of ways.
Repeatedly.
He opened up about, when the jeweler asks and says, how are things going?
Yeah, you go fine.
What's your answer to a stranger?
Fine.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's going well. If Rob's saying it, he'll say it's going good, right? So that would be it. But no, he goes out with this. She surprises me. I don't know what to expect.
He just told me something that I can't deal with. I'm trying to figure it out.
You know what?
This is not your counselor. This is not a counseling session.
It's Rob's cry for help, that he actually needs a therapist, and he thinks this guy
is a substitute.
Is the one.
Because he's free.
Right. Maybe since you get free champagne with rings.
Uh-huh.
Although I didn't seem to be very bubbly. I think maybe it wasn't actually champagne you got with the wedding bands.
Well, maybe you do if you buy an expensive wedding ring. But if every other word out of your mouth is cheap, then you're probably not getting the champagne.
Be honest, and I know inflation is something that has happened since we purchased rings, but do you remember what we spent on our rings?
Yeah, like $350.
$350
on sale.
So inflation, $150 more
for my set.
This would have been 29 years ago.
And I want to say I paid $100 for yours, your gold band with the beaded edge.
So we paid $100 less than, but it looks like what he bought was a band, and he got another. He got another ring with a stone in it.
Yeah, and mine was a set, and they linked together.
Man. So we did spend less than Rob and Sophie on the ring.
Yes, we did. But I did not use the words cheap when entering the jewelry store.
Yeah, and this isn't. I mean, look.
I loved the ring. I looked in the clearance section, but within the clearance section, I loved the ring. It was perfect for me. I was happy.
Yeah, it may sound odd to people that this is how things went down.
I chose it without you.
This is more personal podcast stuff, right? And if you're on our Patreon, there is, they allow us to do groupings of, and so for those of you who are subscribers, if you go to Patreon, there's 2 episodes that we put in our story, so you can kind of hear how we met. We recorded it during our 25th
25th anniversary trip weekend.
So that's our story. So the story there, really, to make it short, is that I was in Germany and we had decided that we were going to get married after we had spent a grand total of a week together.
In person, yes.
In person. We had written before then, and so there was more to it than that. So when we talk about being 90 days, it was pretty much 90 days after I got here that we got married.
Yeah.
So when people say we only got married after a little bit, we're judgy people.
Yeah.
But we're not too judgy when it comes to a timeline.
Right.
Because it was Chantel.
Depends on how that time was filled.
Well, it was like Chantel, right?
Right.
This week said, 4 years before you get married.
Yeah, and we looked at each other like, really?
American men need 4 years to get married. Well, I was in Germany, so maybe I didn't count. Maybe that's it.
You're disqualified for being out of the country.
I want a cheap ring, cheap gold. It's just to use that.
Yes, repeatedly. It's like he was saying she's not worth anything better than that.
Would you go in and lead? Because look, we're talking about money, right?
The appropriate way to do it would be to decide on a budget and go in and say, I'm looking for a ring.
Or 2.
Or around this price or lower. That's our budget. And then he would take you to the selection of rings that's within your budget. It's not about being cheap. It's about living within your means.
Yeah, it makes your relationship seem cheap.
Right. He was devaluing her in the way that he was saying this to this man. And it really bugged me. And I would have been extremely insulted and I would have left.
As a person, you just leave.
I would have left without any words. No explanation required. See ya.
After all of this.
Yeah.
If this is going to be your attitude, then it would be now is not the time to go get rings. If you're going to go. If this is just, I'm angry because of, I don't know. I'm angry because I can't have girls and you say you don't actually want anybody else either? What did she really admit to?
Yeah. An attraction. Essentially.
Right. And what did she then say? I'm not looking to have a relationship. Right. It would be like you hearing me say, you know what? I am attracted to coffee. Right? What does that really mean? Right?
Well, for him, he's like, well, in 10 years, is this going to be an issue? Are you going to want to
how are you
step
gonna
out? And she said, well, if that happens, so that is a possibility, then we'll deal with it at the time, is what she said.
It's 10 years.
Yeah.
You wonder why. Is there any doubt or any reason why that you would think that she shouldn't have been afraid to tell him? Because look at his reaction.
Right.
It's, no wonder. Or this really isn't a story, right?
Uh-huh.
And he's like, why tell me about this then? my thought was, well, there is a production team there.
I was
and we're running low
surprised
on
that his
storyline.
mind didn't go to, well, is there more behind this girlfriend? Find a friend app that you were using.
Well, and I think
that would be my question.
Well, and that friend of hers was bi, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, there may not have been anything there, but there's that, right?
Uh-huh.
And the whole thing is, do you look at girls? And I mean, I'm not trying to. Typically, I would, if you answer a question with a question yourself, you're avoiding it. But it'd be like, Rob, do you look at girls? Can you be in a relationship with Sophie?
She's still saying, I choose you. Because I said to you, well, I'm attracted to men, so then I can't marry you because I might want another man? Well, I'm choosing you out of all the men.
Here's the logic is, I mean, even between, let's use the two of us as an example. If you go, well, I am, there was some guy you were talking about in some, you and Eileen.
Oh, yeah.
I forget who it was.
Yeah, I forget his name, but it's
right.
Yeah.
So it would be like that.
We have
it
a
would
thing
be
for
like,
him.
well, you're looking at other guys. Does that mean you're going to cheat on me?
Of course not.
Well, no, but so it's the same thing. It's just because you're attracted to men, it doesn't mean, I don't know, that you can't recognize an attractive person when you see one.
Right.
When we talk about it here all the time, we go, well, he's got a good set of eyes, or whatever.
That was it. He had mesmerizing eyes.
I mean, Rob has he has very nice eyes.
He does.
Word is he his money could be even OnlyFans.
Really?
Yeah, there's a chance that's
that wouldn't surprise me.
No. So that would be why it's odd jobs and things. He may not want to come out with that. I don't know that is true. We have not reported that on Inside Scoop because I haven't got really anything solid from that.
Proof.
I have been hunting, on OnlyFans. The money I have spent.
You're funny.
On trying to find Rob on OnlyFans.
No.
So my phone, don't go through my phone.
Oh, I don't.
Oh, okay, good. Oh. So I just don't get it. I mean, I just feel like he is just such... a turd in the true sense.
Yeah.
Like, just as a person.
Yeah.
I mean, as a friend, as a partner, he's just a turd.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way around it.
I said to you, at least she's not taking videos and photographs on her phone from other women.
Right, and I think this comes out in the preview. I couldn't quite figure out. It was a big scramble on the previews for next week. But it seems something similar to that.
I just feel like, he's using a double standard.
Well,
he's the one actually doing inappropriate things.
Well, this is probably a good distraction for him. I think, you can get the limelight off himself by shining a light on her. Mm-hmm. And so, he's got a way out. Every time Clayton opens his mouth.
Oh, it's terrible.
We said this as while we were watching it. It seems like every single thing,
almost every thought this guy has is about getting her into bed.
And every action. It's like
it has an ulterior motive.
It's not like he's trying to show her Peru. Right, in America.
In his own country.
He's trying to get brownie points to break her down so that they can do it.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's desperate. Maybe it's because he doesn't have any friends.
Apparently.
Right. I can tell you what, you knew that petting zoo, whatever that was, it stunk.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's just a smelly
And no wonder
place.
She's miserable being in the house all the time. There's no space to do anything. Yeah. The animals have more room than they do.
Well, the apartment is a flippin' petting zoo.
And he spends all of his time on the computer.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what is work. I think he does well for work, so it's hard to tell the difference between work and play. And I'm sure.
But it amounts to he just spends the whole day on the computer.
He's probably got one set up for playing and another set up for work, and he's probably doing it all at the same time.
And what is she supposed to do while she's there?
She could get a job as a llama technician, maybe.
Not yet.
No, she can't. How low effort is this of the... look, we kind of can criticize production assistants when they're just being lazy. And by labeling this lady a llama technician, I'm like, what is this? Who?
You looked at me like, is this an actual job title?
I mean, I'm not trying to criticize what she does.
I don't know.
But does this mean she only works with the llamas?
Apparently.
Oh, I'm not the alpaca technician. This would be like Mom saying, those are Annalise dishes. I'm waiting to see if she was going to put those away or take care of those. Not my mess. I don't deal with the alpacas, only the llamas. What would you call
I could
that?
use that line in my house. Well, those aren't my dishes. Those aren't my dirty clothes.
Man, it is a whole lot easier now.
I wouldn't have anything to do.
Isn't it? I mean, for us, it's a whole lot easier now.
It sure is.
So that is completely different. What would you call a llama technician? Is this a farmhand? What would you call somebody who works at a petting zoo? It's just what this is, right?
Probably like an animal technician or something.
Yeah, sure. A handler?
It depends on what their duties are.
Yeah. Well, it looks like she kisses llamas is what she... Did you see this carrot thing where they put the carrot in their mouth and would let the llama bite the other end?
I'm not letting a llama's mouth anywhere near me. I've been spit on, slimed is what I would call it, by a llama before.
You know,
and
I
it was
think
not pretty.
A llama would come up to you, and if you didn't have a carrot in their mouth, maybe they'd spit at you. Maybe this is why they spit at you, because you don't have a carrot.
I had a bucket of food. They wanted to fight over it.
Yeah.
And then they spit on us.
Yeah, that was one of the worst experiences that I've ever had.
They slimed up the whole van.
In my life.
It was terrible.
We went, and I think people have done this, right?
We went to the safari park in Virginia.
You drive through a safari park, right? And they give you buckets of food. And
that was cool and all. Until we got slimed by the llama.
It was not cool. I mean, you see horrible videos of people and animals pounding on their vehicles. What happens is it could be like ostrich or something, and they're like pecking at your windows.
Yeah.
I was literally terrified.
When I saw the Watusi cattle blocking the road with their gigantic 6 million foot long horns, I was a little nervous, I have to say.
Yeah, this is just bad, right? I'm not happening. It's not happening.
It was all right till we got slimed.
Well, even at this point where you're in the petting zoo, Clayton is still thinking about, this is the most action I've gotten since you have been here.
Right. What is with this guy? He's kind of gross. He's like a pervert.
Well, you know, he doesn't get out much. So
yeah, but she's here to be here forever. Slow your roll, buddy.
Well, he lacks the social skills, right? He has sat himself behind a computer monitor microphone for years.
Maybe he spent a little too much time in the bathroom alone.
Hey now. Well, he could keep doing that, I guess. Maybe he ought to. Maybe that's what Anna Lee ought to tell him to do. Right?
Go entertain yourself.
Yeah, you just got to make sure Mom's not in there. I guess this is the problem.
Yeah. Don't make too much noise.
Right. Is this more common, we think we're going to find with people, that they're friends? I mean, he's what, 30? Been a 15-year friend with a guy that he was gaming with across the country.
Yeah, I mean...
This is more common, right?
Probably. I mean, one of my friends, Eileen, was a listener, and we've become quite close. I would consider her one of my closest friends because we've discussed things I wouldn't share with just anyone.
Except for your husband.
And we've never met in person.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess it's the nature of communication these days.
Well, I think, and that's so much better about communication. I think it
opens up your world a little bit to more people.
Yeah. And maybe get you an in on some better chocolate.
That too.
If by chance, right, I would assume the majority of our listeners are U.S. listeners. If by chance you get an opportunity to get some chocolate from outside of the U.S. and not chocolate that just says that it's maybe Cadbury,
particularly European, UK Cadbury chocolate.
Right,
you should get your hands on
this. Is the way to Kelly's heart.
Yes. The difference is the first ingredient is milk. It is not sugar like in America. It's completely different, creamy, not overly sweet.
You're not trying to criticize the way Americans eat, are you?
I am.
No.
I'm just saying they don't know how to make chocolate.
We're not like Nick, right? So
No.
you're a chocolate snob.
I'm a chocolate snob.
You are.
Yes.
You were born in England.
Yes.
Your mother is English.
Yes.
So you've been, I guess, blessed with that.
I have.
And cursed by being surrounded by American chocolate.
So true.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I grew up with the good stuff.
Right. But, well, so, and now that we're in Texas, what happens is you can't just get that stuff shipped to you at any time.
Right.
Because what happens is,
most
I don't know
of
if
the
you've
year
noticed,
is melting.
it's 174 degrees here
Yeah.
from June until August.
December sometimes.
Right. It was 88 degrees or something like that one day last week.
Crazy.
So this is going to be more common. So for people to meet online and be friends online, I think it's just something. Annalie, I don't even know that she's more social, but anybody would be more social than a 1-bedroom apartment with 3 people and 4 animals.
No interactions with actual people.
That apartment can't. I mean, I guess there's probably ways that you can. I mean, he bathes the guinea pigs, I guess, and there's.
In a plastic swimming pool.
And there's chihuahuas in there, but there's still all animals
all the time
smell.
Yeah.
There is an odor about this place that I think would smell a lot like llamas and alpacas.
Yeah, particularly the guinea pigs. I would think that would be like a rodent type smell, like hamsters, you know.
I mean, it's still their bedding and where they go to the bathroom and how often you change that and what you use.
Yeah, you got to do that frequently.
But there are still animals using the bathroom in the apartment.
Right. And it's not being flushed.
Right, so it's there.
It's
you
present.
have to get it.
And
that'd be
remove
great if you could teach them to use the bathroom. I'd like a little guinea pig bathroom if they're so
I
smart.
bought a little hamster potty, but I need an attachment.
We do have hamsters.
To add it, to my cage.
Does it flush?
No, but it
I like to see them on the crapper.
There's litter. I bought some like hamster litter, like
this
litter
old
box
phone.
stuff, like you put in kitty litter in a cat box, and it attracts them so that they only go to the bathroom in the potty, and then you just take off the potty and clean that, and then the bedding stays clean.
I want that with a little wood stick while it's sitting on the crapper. Right. Smoking or something.
Give it a little miniature magazine to thumb
something.
through.
I need something. This is my imagination. So that's it. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be happy in this tiny apartment that's filled with cluttered with stuff and animals. I mean, I love animals, but you got to have space. There's more animal space than there is people space.
We have 3 dogs. We're down to 2 turtles and a hamster, and there's fish, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's what we have in the house.
Yeah.
So we get it. Occasionally, you'll walk into a room
and go,
like
I
where
need
the
to
hamster
change this
is.
litter.
You go, like, yeah. But it's on the other side. It's all enclosed in one end of the house.
Yeah, and you go, oh, today's the day.
Because we have 2 killers in the house.
Yeah.
2 killer dogs.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Look, this little thing about the mess, Clayton coming out and complaining about a kitchen mess, and Mom going, it's not mine, it's hers. I was waiting for her to do it. It sounded like Clayton was saying it was Mom's mess, right?
I don't know. It was hard to tell, but, you know, who could tell because Mom's a hoarder, so I'm not sure she's used to cleaning up her own mess.
It sounded like he was getting on her about the kitchen's getting cluttered.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't clutter. Clutter may be Mom. Dirty dishes are the team.
Uh-huh. So it's more, whose turn is it?
It's so crowded in there.
Yeah.
Where would she go? She'd have to go into the bathroom for peace.
Yeah.
I would be out all the time.
Yeah, me too.
I'd be walking the dogs, you know?
Yeah.
But they didn't look like they were that friendly. Or just cleaning all the time. It would just be uncomfortable. I remember when I was at your parents' house, it was awkward, right?
Uh-huh.
It was just different.
Yeah.
And so when you're in an odd situation, it's
yeah,
just,
I mean, it was like being at your mom's house.
right.
You know, I just would go for a drive or go for a walk into town, whatever, just for a change of scenery and to get away from the cigarette smoke, that kind of thing. It's just not your environment. You don't feel open to like get yourself a drink or, whatever. You're more likely to like get in the car and go to the store to get a drink, because it's not your house.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to like make yourself at home.
Yeah. Well, making yourself at home, I can't wait to talk next week because it looks like he brings up the no sex thing in front of strangers, which seems to be a popular thing to do.
Gosh, I couldn't believe that either.
I don't know. Oh, we didn't even talk about Sam and Citra.
Oh, yeah.
I only thought there was 5 couples this time. We almost made it to the end. Well, there's Sam and Citra. How about them?
He makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Something about him. I told you it made sense to me when he said he's on Suboxone.
Yeah.
I said to you, he talks like someone who's on drugs. It's slow and kind of slurry, and it makes me uncomfortable, and that's why. He's on Suboxone, so he's still on drugs in a controlled way.
Yeah, so let's look at that more in depth, and maybe this is the perfect storm of what we talk about like in real life, right? Because let's be honest, we watch a lot of First 48, a lot of crime stuff.
Intervention.
Yeah, we watch all this. This is combined in one. If Sam got pulled over and he had drugs, not prescription drugs, in a non-prescription container, and it goes to any type of investigation, what should Sam do?
Get an attorney.
Well, no. Well, yes, there's that. But produce the prescription.
Correct.
Because then it's done. I would assume it's over at that point. I have a legal prescription for this. I just removed it from the bottle.
Well, I think the problem was that it wasn't in a prescription bottle and he was on some kind of probation already.
Well, that's still
fine. So that's
fine.
a violation. If you have medication, it has to be in the bottle.
Well, I understand that, but don't you think if you went and explained it, I get his issues, right?
I'll put it this way. I traveled to my mom's in Arkansas.
I was going to ask this question about how you would travel.
I have a lot of things. I take supplements, vitamins,
Suboxone,
stuff like that.
Right.
No, and my only prescription is birth control. But I take like allergy medication that used to be prescription is now over the counter. So there's a lot of little tiny pills in there, and they're not identified because I put them all in my pill box. So I didn't have to take all these bottles.
I was going to bring this up specifically.
Because it made me think of that. And I had I was going to be there a week. And so I had like a week-long pill dispenser, like a pill box. And I packed it with all my stuff for the week. And that way I didn't have to take bottles taking up space in my suitcase because I only had one piece of checked luggage. And I checked that piece and I packed the medicine in my clothes in the checked piece of luggage so they wouldn't have to get messed with in my carry-on. And when I got to my mom's, I opened up my suitcase. It was in disarray. I had everything strapped down. You know how you have the elastic straps in there? It keeps everything folded and neat. That was all done, clothes unfolded, stuff crammed in there. And there was a piece of paper on top that was a note from TSA saying my bag was randomly inspected. And so they pulled everything out of my suitcase, and my pill box, all the little 7 compartments were open, and all my pills were spilled out loose amongst my clothing. I'm like, what the heck? And I was panicked because I was away from home, had no way to replace my birth control pills.
Right,
and I'm like,
and
this is going to be a mess.
You could get pregnant.
No, but if you miss a whole bunch of pills, like you got to wait like a long time and start over, like on a new cycle.
I was testing you.
You're funny. So, I mean, those pills are tiny. And I was like painstakingly removing my clothes and shaking them out on the bed so I wouldn't lose
what happens
pills.
if you get off of your normal cycle of pills or you forget to take them for a couple of days or what happens?
Well, like if I'd missed a week and then, I mean, like when you get off them like that, it messes up your cycle. Like if you start taking them, like say for instance, I think when we got married, I would have had my cycle on our honeymoon. So I actually changed how I was taking my birth control pill to control when my cycle started. So instead of stopping a box, I started the next one so that my cycle wouldn't start yet. So it
and not all, for the guys listening, not all reasons to take birth control are for the prevention of pregnancy.
Right. I initially got on it because we have a hereditary thing, dysmenorrhea in my family, where you have abnormally painful cramps and excessive bleeding. And so it can make you ill. I mean, it used to be like 8 days for me, and I'd be so iron deficient at the end of it that I would be dizzy and lightheaded and feel like I was going to pass out. And, you know, my immune system would be kind of low and I would get sick, catch stuff, you know, at the end of my cycle. And so it made me feel really bad. And the cramps were so bad that, you know, sometimes like I couldn't function. Right. You know, I would miss school and stuff. It was really bad.
And you've seen this in our daughter.
Yes, and she has the same problem. Yeah, and so did my sister and my mom. You know, it's passed on. And so the solution is to these excessive cycles and these abnormally painful cramps that are debilitating is to get on birth control, because it regulates your hormones, shortens your cycle, and minimizes the cramping. And so I actually explained this to our daughter as a teenager because it was debilitating for her, and it was making her ill, and she was having to take, you know, over-the-counter stuff, and it wasn't really helping. And I saw how miserable she was, and I remember how I felt. If I wouldn't say I considered killing myself, but I envisioned myself in a dumpster. Right. Because I was in so much agonizing pain that I couldn't function. And I would be in bed for days, just in constant pain with a heating pad. Right. And I mean, it was miserable. And my sister, she couldn't eat. It would make her vomit, you know, and our daughter would get nauseous. And
so this is your panic about the pill situation.
Yes. So, you know, if I wasn't on the pill, I'd probably return to this kind of cycle. I mean, I'm in my 50s and my hormones are low, and I'm still taking birth control because I don't want to experience that. You know, it sucks.
Yeah, and I don't know, but you know, there could be one egg left.
There could be.
Yeah, just one.
Ain't
so you're saying there's a chance?
No way. Run me over. So you know, so I'm like shaking out my clothes and trying to recoup all these pills. And the reason why they went through the pill box is because nothing was labeled. Yeah. And they look on the pills for like pill numbers, like the stamps that are required by the FDA to identify pills. And they look all that stuff up to make sure you're not smuggling drugs. Right. So, I mean, that happens.
Yep.
So him being on probation and having pills that are controlled medication outside of a bottle is a problem.
My thought, though, if he could produce a prescription to a judge at the time, it's because it's what you would do. If you had a lawyer, or even not, you would go, I had a reason to have this. I was carrying it improperly, but I did have a prescription. I can't imagine that he would get.
I think there'd still be a consequence, but it'd probably be lighter.
There wouldn't be, but
because I'm pretty sure that would be spelled out in the probation.
First thing you would do is prove that you were legal to be carrying this. Yeah. It leads me to believe maybe he wasn't.
Right.
Which is possible.
Because I think they assume if it's outside of a container, you could be bartering this, or
he could have done the same thing you did,
peddling it,
and had a pill box.
Yes.
It would strike me as odd for somebody, and he doesn't seem like that guy, you know, but it's possible, you know. He was cleaning up the place. Impressive.
Yeah.
Right? He did better than Gino. New pillows, a broom. That's still fine, right?
Yeah, he's hoping to get lucky.
Yeah. He's hoping when Dad comes that he just got to not be a pervert, is what he said.
Gosh.
Like, this is not what we need.
He's talking about having needs, too.
Yeah, and that he was horny, and I'm like, how's this working for you? You're 30. This is where you're at. You know, I saw him. They got to the airport. I saw him try to lift her. I can guarantee he's not taking HGH. That didn't happen, right? So he couldn't do that. But he's got to convert. You think this guy who, look, he can't get in this program that he's supposed to begin is because he missed the deadline to register for it.
Yes.
This tells me a lot.
He could have kept himself out of jail, and he was too lazy to sign up for the program.
Forgot or whatever. You know, maybe what he needs is Devin's mom.
Right.
You know, don't you think you'd hope at least his parents would have been at a point where you go, you know what, we got to get you in this program.
Uh-huh.
You think he's hunted for a mosque?
No.
I think we can tell he's done absolutely no reading on the religion.
Well, if he couldn't even sign up for the program, he's surely not out looking for a mosque.
Well, he should go to the mosque and celebrate Yom Kippur there.
Couldn't believe he said that.
Like, oh, no.
Next he's going to say, I think they celebrate Leprechaun Day or something.
Right. What's he going to do? I'm like,
some random something.
I'm like, oh, my word. Do they celebrate Christmas?
Oh, yeah. It's Hanukkah. That's it.
What is this? We should have known it was bad because, look, this is Kansas City. You know what Kansas City's known for its barbecue. So they're having a cookout outside, and there's not barbecue. It's just hamburgers and hot dogs. This should tell you something about them in general.
Uh-huh.
This is where barbecue's supposed to happen. They're just having hot dogs from Walmart. Oh, Yom Kippur is what they said.
Oh, I smacked my forehead when he said that. Because
we laughed, all right? When they said, do Muslims celebrate Christmas, we laughed.
Uh-huh.
This was funny. This was,
yeah.
Of course not, right?
Right.
No. It's not anywhere close to that.
And then when he said a Jewish holiday, I think it's that. We were just like, oh my gosh, this is great. An idiot.
It would be like if this is like Joey from Friends, right? This is like a bigger punchline. The Christmas thing would be one thing, but you go for more. They went for Yom Kippur. I'm like, this is great. And then Mom says, well, he grew up in a kind of Christian home. This means no, he did not.
He did not.
No, he did not. So,
because if he did, he would at least be aware that Yom Kippur was Jewish.
Like, it doesn't do a lot for us as a nation or educational system or anything. So it's very poor.
Or presence of any religious understanding at all.
Yeah, this is not boding well for his transition. He better mind his P's and Q's is what he ought to do.
Yeah, I'm thinking this conversion is not happening.
Yeah, probably not. And he's done nothing, so we'll see how that goes. So do you think, we said it last week, does he convert and everything's good, or do they get married without him converting?
Oh, that won't happen because her dad is coming. He said it's my obligation, my duty to witness this marriage and to make sure that everything is proper. So he said, I will be there no matter what.
Gets her pregnant in those first 3 days.
Wouldn't surprise me.
So, yeah.
Then Dad will threaten his life.
Yeah. That's it. I'm going to grab that and move it to the other. Welcome to the Midwest. Because we get some bowling this week. Seems to be a regular thing.
That was fun.
I have to say, I was waiting patiently to see Gino roll a bowling ball.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay. Like, is he really
a bowler
from Michigan, right? Is this it? And it is not. I mean, it wasn't.
Or he's just bad at it.
Well, that's also possible. But I think if you'd done it enough.
I think he's not a coordinated person.
He said it'd been a while since he'd done it. He'd hope he remembered how, but he didn't throw the ball in the gutter, right?
Uh-huh, right.
So this means it's in him somewhere. Like he could warm up to this after a while.
Uh-huh.
But this is not an excuse for fast food. I can tell you the bowling alleys in Michigan, right, in Monroe anyway, they have good food there. I mean, restaurant attached. You eat at Muggsy's is where Muggsy's is attached to Sports Center. And so the food's really actually decent. I mean, it's not 4-star or anything like that, but it's not that bad. It looks like it came out in cardboard crates is what he'd gotten it in.
Uh-huh. He ordered a lot of stuff.
He did order a lot of stuff.
And I wasn't expecting her to eat any of it. She's a vegetarian, right? She's not going to be eating junk food and stuff.
Yeah. Well, you can look at her and tell. I mean, she's not consuming a lot of extra calories in what she does. But I can tell you, bowling is like, I think, like darts would be like in Virginia. Bowling's an excuse to have a pitcher of beer.
Uh-huh.
That's how that works. It's not about an excuse to eat fast food. Because you would just go to a fast food place. I mean, if you would eat at Wendy's or a bowling alley, what would you choose? You'd be sneaking food in a bowling alley, right?
Yes.
Right. I think, this whole thing started out with the bachelor party fight. And he came in there, and I think he could have done a better job of saying, and maybe defended his family a little bit. Dana, my family, said that that it wasn't about the bachelor party. It was about my lack of honesty with you.
Right, because that could have helped her understand that guy's not against her.
Because he go, well, I agree with him. And then the next time you're together, Jasmine could go over and badmouth Gino about something with the family, and they could at least agree on something.
Uh-huh.
But, I mean, Gino's got the same problem here that Sophie has with Rob. I would be afraid
to tell you anything.
Yes. I think I would be afraid, to enter the room. I'd get out of bed.
Uh-huh.
I would, roll off the side and tiptoe around and get out. Because I'd just be afraid of waking the beast.
Uh-huh.
She said, well, he got into his tradition. I don't know that is really a tradition.
Yeah, we didn't do any
bachelor
of that stuff.
Parties. That's not about us.
No.
Maybe we're just not that connected to the norm.
Oh, I think it's about being conservative.
Yeah, but
I would never go to a strip club.
I wonder what the norm is. Right? What do most people do? I guess we just don't know.
I mean, I guess it's more of a tradition, a cultural tradition maybe, but
I mean, she had a party.
I don't subscribe to it.
And they had, I think, some penis things there, but it was pretty laid back, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, it wasn't what we saw Gino doing.
Right. With the lap dance.
What was that, 2 weeks ago? The butt bongos he was doing. I mean, I would assume when Jasmine sees this video,
it would be a problem.
She's unhappy. And he should, I would say he could tell her now, and she would be mad, but she would be mad again when she saw it. So maybe he'd better just save it. She said all of this, the new place, the people. She said this is all just intimidating, is what she said.
Mm-hmm. Probably overwhelming.
And that it's freaking cold.
Yeah, that's what I said.
She said something. They had a sweet exchange between the two of them.
Yeah, they did.
And you even had me rewind it because I don't know that we heard it properly.
Mm-hmm. I said, did she just say what I think she said?
She said, I love you a lot more than you think.
Yeah, that was nice.
It's about as sweet as we get between them, right?
Uh-huh.
So I was impressed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she even picked up a spare. She can bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about a place to go. And, typical of her to just talk about Hawaii. When he thinks about the U.S., where do you want to go? Mm-hmm. And, of course, she says Hawaii. But you'd have to almost fly past Panama to go to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite, but maybe if you went through Texas. You went through Dallas. When I went to Hawaii with the reserves, so I got, for me, I got to see, Europe with the Army. And I did get to go to Hawaii with the Navy Reserves. That was nice. Because I assume that's the only time I'll be in Hawaii.
I'm sure.
Because it's expensive. And
and beaches aren't really our cup of tea because we lived at the beach and never went.
I just have to tell you, it's different.
Well, I know, but I'm saying just as a choice of vacation spot, like we wouldn't go to a beach of any kind.
Right.
You know, we're more cabin in the mountains kind of people.
Right. Beach off season.
Which is cold, so no. I can't swim, and I burn with my fair skin, so there's just no attraction for me at all.
You're as pale as I would assume Gino is.
Yes.
Parts of your skin just don't see the sun.
Yeah.
I think you would go out in the sun and blister.
Yeah, I just freckle and then burn. Like there's no brown, there's no tanning. It's Snow White to lobster red.
My skin is permanently altered. Color-wise. Mm-hmm. You can see it from all the running that I've done. If you look at my ankle, my feet are my actual color, and the rest of my body is, other than, there's certain areas that probably have not seen the sun. So those areas are the same color as my feet. I don't go around barefoot.
Or naked.
Or naked, right. It would be bad. I do run. There are barefoot runners. I don't run barefoot. I'm a naked runner. I run in socks and shoes. Right. That's it. You just got to tape some stuff up. I don't know where I'm going with that. But they choose to go Miami. You said right away,
this is a mistake.
Yes.
She's never going to want to leave.
Right.
There's the whole Latin culture there and Spanish speakers, and it's warm and tropical, and she will feel right at home, and she'll never want to leave.
I thought I heard some talk of them going there in a scoop story or maybe it's something that she'd suggested. That was maybe it was a previous season that she had talked about it. But it would be more of a natural place for her.
To feel at home.
And if Gino's going to retire, if he's going to be an old retired guy, this should be the place that he goes. Maybe not Miami, right? I'm not very good on, maybe like Sarasota, or I don't know where people retire. We're not headed there.
No.
As bad as it is here in Texas for heat. It's like that there, but more humid
and buggy.
And more bugs.
Gross. I do not like bugs.
Here it's just dry and hot. But look at him, old retired couple. Even he packs like an old retired guy. Mm-hmm. She's like, you know what? We can go down there, and if we forget something, we can just buy it down there. And he's like, there'll be none of that at all. She said, bye, Michigan. Bye, crappy weather. Michigan is what she calls it.
Michigan.
And she said, Miami is the place that I belong. She gets off the plane and pretty much strips down to nothing.
Yeah.
And then their driver speaks Spanish, and you could just see the excitement.
Yeah.
She's never going to want to leave.
No. It's going to be a problem. Be the next thing they're arguing about.
Yeah. And we've talked about them and their current situation in Inside Scoop. It's a part of what we do at Inside Scoop. We do a lot of spoilers. So we don't even spoiler alert it. It's a whole show devoted to spoilers. Rumor, gossip, innuendo, that kind of stuff. So the rest of this episode, we are going to talk about Devin and Nick. We're going to talk about Nikki and Igor. This week coming up, 1,000 Pound Sisters, I think, takes over the Plathville time slot. So we may cover that. We'll see how that goes. I'm kind of looking
forward to seeing that.
Yeah. I think it'll be a little different season for them this year. Mm-hmm. We cover, like we said, Chantel, Sister Wives, The Other Way. We've been watching Love After Lockup, and this is now, like I was trying to explain it to somebody else. You have like B90,
right,
90 Day, and then HEA. Mm-hmm. Well, for us, I think B90 in the 90-day world, B90 is the best of the three. HEA is the worst of the three. This is 90 days somewhere, literally in the middle. Mm-hmm. But for Love After Lockup, Life After Lockup, whatever you want, whatever version, it's this version here. Mm-hmm. It's the middle version that is the best.
Yes.
So, And it's already been good. So we there's a chance that we'll pick that up as we scramble around, and we're going to still watch the Housewife shows, but not talk about them. But we are going to talk about Devin and Nick, and Nikki and Igor coming up next. Thank you for listening.
You can listen to the rest of this episode
by subscribing to our Coupled with Chaos channel on Apple,
by subscribing to our Patreon,
or by subscribing to our Supercast
for $3.99 a month,
where you can hear us talk about reality shows,
real life, and more on our podcast,
covering shows airing on TLC, A&E, Bravo, and the WE Network.
Just follow the instructions in the show notes.
Tell your friends about this podcast,
and rate and review us on your favorite podcast player.
Follow us at Coupled with Chaos and all the socials.
Or contact us directly by email at coupledwithchaos@gmail.com.